Hey, what's up, everybody? So the last video with Colonel Bob has had a great response, and we wanted to do another video for you, and we thought what better than his presentation on coin show etiquette, because on Sunday, May 1st is the Wausau, Wisconsin Valley Coin Club coin show. And so at our coin club meeting, Colonel Bob decided to talk about coin show etiquette. Hope you find it helpful. I hope you'll like, subscribe, and share. And if you haven't subscribed already, I hope today is the day I earn your subscription. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay, so when we talk about going to coin shows, there's a certain etiquette that you're going to use when you are in a coin show. The dealers are there to obviously make money. They're there to develop contacts, but they'll have usually their best material there for you to look at. And it's a great opportunity for you to see a lot of variety, a lot of quality coins, and the best material that dealers have. In doing that, understand that if you are there just to look, there's nothing wrong with that, but be aware, be considerate of the fact that there are people there looking to purchase, and the dealers are there to sell. So try to make sure that you're allowing space at the tables for the dealers to do transactions. If you're interested in just looking, be patient and wait for the dealer to have a moment, and that may have a moment to help you. That may not happen right away. When the show gets going, early morning is usually a okay time, but later in the afternoon is usually a much better time. Anytime after 1 o'clock. The show goes from 9 to 4, and it's usually very busy from 11 to 1. It's usually standing room only. So making sure that you only are taking up a very little bit amount of time. You're probably going to be busy anyways, but that is not the time to go and ask a question about a coin you have. Is when the dealer is really busy with other customers who are there to buy things. So making sure that you're considerate of not only the people who are there to purchase, the guests from the public, as well as the dealers. Other coin show etiquette would include, if you are interested in buying coins, buy them from the dealers who are there. Do not attempt to buy coins from people of the public who are there to sell their coins. That would be something that could get you potentially, and I have seen it happen, get people thrown out of a coin show. If you want to buy coins from the public, buy a table. There are tables available. And Dad will sell you a table, and then you can set up and you can buy from the public. But if you see somebody offering a coin that you might like to have, offering it to a dealer for a certain price, and that dealer says no, it is not okay for you to say, well, I'll give you that price. That's not okay for you to do. It's also not okay for you to interrupt or add your opinion about a particular coin while a transaction is going on, or making comments about a dealer or a customer who with something about the transaction that you think is inappropriate or wrong or anything of that nature, with a few possible exceptions. If you had personal knowledge that something was stolen, that would be very appropriate to mention. That you know about something being stolen. But to say, well, that dealer just lowballed you, or you're asking way too much money for that coin, or can I see that coin? Those are all things that would be inappropriate for you to interrupt a transaction that's going on. If you are interested in a coin, if you happen to overhear something, then you just simply wait for that dealer to purchase that coin or that customer to sell it to somebody, and then you can ask whichever dealer would purchase it to see it and that you're interested in buying it. Do not try to make any sort of agreements to meet out in the parking lot to purchase coins. That would clearly be inappropriate and would also have the potential to get you kicked out of the show.
You've ruined my whole strategy here, Bob.
Oh, I've ruined your strategy.
Way to go, Bob.
Other things of etiquette. Keeping your hands above the table. Don't try to put your hands or your coins. If you're looking at a coin from their inventory, keep it in plain view. Don't put it in your pocket. If you have a loop or something you're reaching for, or if you have like a duffel bag or a briefcase or something, making sure that you always keep that coin in view, maybe even setting it down or handing it back to the dealer, say, just a second, I have to get out my price guide, I have to get out my loop so I can look at it closer. It is acceptable at times for, especially if you know that dealer, to say, can I take this coin over to this dealer over here? I'd like to get their opinion about that. In many instances, that's acceptable. That's fine. Dealers will understand that you may want to get another opinion about a coin before you purchase it, especially if they know you. They may even take it over to that dealer for you, so that, you know, if they had an issue that they might think you might run away with it or something like that, they may take it over to that dealer so that dealer could look at it on your behalf. That's fine. That's if you're going to do something like that, make sure you talk to that other dealer first and ask him if it's okay if he's willing to do, he or she is willing to do that, to look at that coin on your behalf, to make sure that they're willing to do that, and that also then you'd have to get permission from the dealer who happens to be selling it. So if you're trying to do that, that is acceptable though, to get a second opinion. Any food or drinks you may have, make sure that you are very cognizant of where they're at. To set something down on the glass, you could spill a whole drink and it would go right down in the case on the coins, potentially causing thousands of dollars worth of damage. So yeah, it's generally not a good idea to walk around with food and drinks. It's generally, the same thing holds true with making sure that when you're handling somebody else's property, that you're just very cognizant of keeping it in view, that you're looking at it, and again, you're being respectful of people's time, because in many instances, there are people that are just waiting to get in, and if you're spending a lot of time looking at a particular coin that you really have made the decision not to buy, or you need some time to think about, that's something you should really be careful about. Don't spend a lot of time somewhere if you absolutely have no intention of buying something and soaking up the table space for that dealer to be able to make a profit for the day, because that's why they're there, and we want these dealers to come back. There is time for that. That would be later in the day when there is less people in the room and the dealer is less busy. So just making sure that you're aware of those sorts of things. Any questions at all about any of that?
One thing I'll just say that happened to me on the taking a coin to someone else for opinions. I, in Madison, made a trade, a gold coin for like several silver ones. And before he took it, he wanted to take mine and walk around the show. And so the same thing happened to me on the other aspect.
Yeah, that is considered acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, it's considered proper etiquette.
Right.
That's fine, as long as you're comfortable. And you have the right to say no.
Yeah.
But that is considered proper.
And mine was a gold bar, actually. It was a fractional gold bar that I traded for some silver coins. And I think he just wanted to verify it, because gold bars are
There's a lot of fakes
fake.
out there. Yeah. And so there are machines that we have that will test them, and maybe he forgot his machine that day, or maybe he didn't have one and he knew somebody who did.
Right.
And he wanted to get it checked. And that's perfectly considered appropriate and within good etiquette. But did he ask your permission to do that? Yeah.
Yep. He's like, hey, let me just have a couple guys check this out. I'll be right back. And cool. Yeah.
That's another thing. If a coin is in a cardboard or a vinyl flip, if you want to take it out to get a closer look at it, obviously proper coin handling techniques, making sure you're only handling by the edge or the rim of the coin. The third side, you have the front, the reverse, and the rim. You only handle by the edge. And it is okay. It's acceptable to ask to remove it from the holder, but make sure you get permission. Don't just pull it out of the holder. If you're going through somebody's flipping pages or going through somebody's stock box, being cognizant that you're not being rough with the coins, or you're being flipping the coins harshly so that you can bend the pages where they fall out, or slamming them into each other where they're going to cause contact marks, staple scratches, just being aware of just handling coins appropriately. If you have questions or you don't really know about all of that stuff, I can be happy to talk to you about that. But also, you can always ask for help. Say, do you have, I'd like to look, do you have anything like this? And that dealer may point you to specifically to that area of the box. So you're not going, or the books, you're not maybe asking them to help turn the pages for you. Can you show me in your binder here where you've got those kinds of items? Proof sets. If you're going to open a proof set, be very aware of how those boxes open up, because they're very easy to tear the boxes, and torn boxes are worth less. So if you tear a box, you should expect to buy it, whether you like the coins inside or not, because you've just damaged that box. So making sure that, again, it's just being considerate, just using proper handling techniques. And that's something that, many of you have years of experience, but some of you don't. Some of you are relatively new to the hobby, and that may be something that's completely foreign to you. And it's quite all right for you to ask a dealer, hey, I'd like a 1973 proof set. Do you have one? Yeah. Can you open it for me? I'd like to take a look at it. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine. As opposed to you trying to open it and then the box rips and you say, oh, well, now the coin's spotted on the inside. I don't want it. Well, you just ripped the box, and now it's that much harder to... So just being aware of those sorts of things. Asking a dealer if a coin is cleaned or if it has any problems is perfectly within etiquette. If you have that sort of a question, by all means ask that. If something doesn't look right to you, ask it. Do you guarantee authenticity? I want to buy say a key day coin, a 1916D Merkdimer, an 09 SVD penny. Asking that dealer, do you guarantee the authenticity of this coin? And then following that up with, what happens if I send it in for grading and they say it's not authentic? How do you back it up? That's a great question to ask. Do I get my money back? Do I get all my money back? Do I get my grading fee back? Those are perfectly legitimate questions to ask if you're going to purchase a coin. Yes, Terry?
Okay. I want to tell you the one situation that I had. It was at a paper money show. The vest pocket dealer was offering to sell a Wausau, Nebraska note. Yes, there is a Wausau, Nebraska. A Wausau, Nebraska note. Now, if I waited for him to walk away and then grabbed him in the aisle, I'm not supposed to do that.
Correct.
Or asked him to meet me in the parking lot. I'm not supposed to do that. So how do I handle it? I wanted to look at that note and I wanted to make an offer. So what I did, I asked the dealer, are you going to buy that note? Okay. Vest pocket dealer had already put it away. And I said, you're sure you're not going to buy it? And I asked the dealer's permission, okay, whose table we were at. Can I talk to this customer, basically, about buying that note? And I said, if I buy that note from him, I would give you a 10% commission if you would allow me to buy that note from him here at your table.
Right.
And he said, no problem, no commission. He said, go ahead, talk to the guy. I bought the note, and I didn't pay a commission or anything, but, I couldn't let that one get away.
Right.
But I did ask permission of the dealer.
That's a good point. And if you're going to do something, if you see something that you just have to have, and first of all, Terry verified that dealer wasn't going to purchase it because that was presented to that dealer. But secondly, he offered a commission to that, and he asked for permission. That is different than saying, hey, buddy, I'd like to buy that. Why don't we just step over here and I'll give you that money? That's a lot different. And so in offering, and that dealer ended up saying, you know what, it's quite all right. You don't have to pay me a commission. That's fine. That's within the rules of etiquette. But that would be something that would be really exclusive in that it's something that you are very part and partial to. Not just you, Terry, but if you're a collector of, $20 gold coins like Mike, or rare coins, but something that you've been looking for a long time. I said that in jest about Mike, but something you've been looking for a long time, and it happens to be in the room there, and it's gonna be. That would be how you would handle that. You would ask that dealer discreetly, not loudly in front of that person, because you don't want that person. Well, I'll sell it to you. Because now that puts you in a bad spot in front of the dealer. It makes it all look bad. But to discreetly say to the dealer, say, hey, if you're not interested in that coin, I will pay you a commission to buy that coin for me. And as Terry found out, the dealer just said, you know what, don't worry about the commission, go ahead and just buy it, that's fine. That's perfectly fine, that's perfectly legitimate, but that would be the way to do something like that, not to go ahead and try to not to try to direct that person away from the dealers that are there who have paid to come, because just because the dealer that you went to was fine with it doesn't mean the dealer right next to you who may have wanted to buy it and saw the whole thing too, didn't. So, you know, you got to be really careful about that. And again, being discreet is important, and understanding that the dealers that have paid, they're paying for business. They're paying for business opportunities. And if you as members of the club or members of the public are taking away opportunities from those dealers, they may not come back. You know, and we definitely need the dealers there at the show. They're there to do business. The business should be there for the dealers that are there. And members of the public are free to go to whichever dealer they should so choose. And you, as you have the opportunity to buy from any of those dealers. So again, offering a commission, that would be the appropriate way to do that. Any other questions at all?
Well, this happens to be, as a club member, I guess, since we're there before the public gets a chance to look at the coins. I mean, it's not, I mean, the dealer will sell us a coin, you know, can we go to look at the dealer's coins before the public comes in and basically make, you know, because it's almost like an early bird. We don't do early birds at our show here, but
Right.
we like the same thing they do at other shows.
That's a good question, Dave. So what Dave is talking about is, at what point is it appropriate for club members, let's say if, as an example, to go and start purchasing? The show opens at 9. Many shows around the country will have an early bird day or an early time to come in. Some places charge extra to come in for that time.
Oh yeah, $25.
Well, or more, yeah. To go on, to go to early day or early time. Sometimes like setup is, you know, if a show's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, setup will be Wednesday or Wednesday evening, and they'll even have early bird times then. And dealers, many of the dealers know each other, and so it's not uncommon for the dealers to be doing transactions before the show starts. And I guess I'm not familiar with the club having any rules. Thad, as board chairman, are there any rules in regards to the early
I've
birds?
asked people to leave the show prior to show opening. I would not think it's appropriate for club members to take advantage of something that's not available to the public. The show opens at 9 a.m.
Okay.
That's when retail transactions should.
So
You
the
guys are
answer
killing
to
me
the question is, it really depends upon the show board's chairman and who's running the show, the rules that they're going to make. So the answer for the Wassacoin show is no, it's not appropriate. But there are circumstances where it is. Checking with the board's chairman is really important, and understanding that there is a board's chairman. Each coin, the bourse is the person who's in charge of the coin show, and the bourse is the floor, or what's known and titled as the floor, B-O-U-R-S-E. That's how that's spelled. But that's that person, the bourse chairman, is the person in charge of the show. They're the ones that collected all the monies from the dealers. They sent out the applications. So each show is different, but understanding what the rules are is important, and checking with that. And if, you know, for club members, if somebody comes up to you and says, is it okay that I go do this? Is it okay that I go do that? Unless you are 100% certain, if you don't know, if you've got any doubt, say, you know what, I'll check and I'll find out for you. And then you talk with that and get that answer in this case. But if you're at another show someplace else, checking with whoever's in charge of that show is important to follow the rules, because, you know, we're trying to have a well-run show, something that is, and so each show makes up their own decisions. And in this case, the decision is there is no early sales, at least amongst. Thad, did you have any problems with dealers conducting?
No, I'm talking retail sales. I'm not
Retail
talking
sales,
wholesale.
yeah. So yeah, and here's the other thing: if you've got a line, and Thad has a very valid point. If you've got a line of the public that we're holding back, say you can't go in until 9 o'clock, and they see members of the club going in there and doing and buying, and say, well, that's the coin I wanted for my collection. That's the whole reason I came here, and now it's gone. Well, guess what? Now they're not going to come to the show. So, and you may not have even, they may not be accurate in that assessment, but just understanding that there are rules, and that's the reason they're in place, is to ensure that it's a well-run and smooth show, and that everyone has a fair chance at getting what it is that they're there to buy.
Well, see, that happened to me in Oklahoma. So there's annual show in Lawton, Oklahoma. And so I got there right when they opened, and I went to the first dealer, and he had all these, I was doing Lincoln cents, raw Lincoln cents, and he had some that I needed. Well, I had talked to him before the show, I saw him going in. So by the time I went into the show, one of the club members that was with the show went in there and bought a bunch of that stuff. So he didn't have it available anymore, so.
Yeah, that's not
It was like, that wasn't too fair, but.
And I had that happen to me once at a show as well. I had at the time I was hoarding a particular coin. I was buying as many of that coin as it was, and I would go to shows and I would go to every dealer and say, "Do you have this coin? Do you have?" And if they had it, I was buying it. And there was somebody else who knew I was doing that, and they got there before I did, and they did the very same thing. And that was another dealer. And then when I got to the show, they came up to me and said, "Yeah, I went around and got all the coins for you, and here they are." And oh, by the way, they're $5 more each.
What coin was that, Bob? Want to share that?
It was a 1939 proof Jefferson.
Oh,
Yeah, I used to hoard those. At one point I had 72 of them.
really?
So, yeah, and there's only 12,000 made.
So you want to get all of them in the corner of the
Well, I don't know about getting all of them, but then there's only so many available, and like I said, I had 72 of them, and I was looking at one point I had 72 of them. I was looking to get as many as I could. So, but yeah, so being careful again if you're looking for something in particular, being discreet may help to find that, but there comes a certain point where you have to disclose to people that that's what you're looking for. So, having a list is okay. As a dealer, that's one thing that I will do. If somebody has a list, I will ask them, "Do you have a list? And can I see it so I can find the coins on the list that I have that they might be interested in to help expedite the process?" There's no way for me to magically store that information and say, "Oh, well, Randy is looking for these coins, and I'm going to make sure that I get all of these, so I can call Randy up and say, 'Well, I've got them. You got to buy them for me.'" No, it doesn't work like that. I don't remember which coins anyone's particularly looking for, but if somebody comes to me and they've got a list of what they're looking for, I can very quickly point them to where they're at in my inventory and say, "Oh, I've got that coin over here. I've got these two off your list right over here. If you like them, this is how much they cost." So having a list is a very good thing. I've seen people that are very discreet about their lists and they don't want to show them. And sometimes I think part of it is they don't want to. Virtually every list will have expensive coins on it, and they don't want to disclose that they're looking for that coin, because now all of a sudden they're presented with that coin, and maybe they don't have the money to buy it, or maybe they do have the money to buy it and they don't want to buy it that day. So yes.
I have a question, Bob, regarding potential buyer requesting a lower price. In other words, saying, "You want to sell this coin for $100, will you take 90 for it?"
Yes, great question. I missed that. In the world of coins, haggling is completely acceptable.
To a point.
To a point, yeah. I mean, if somebody's asking, $100 for a coin and you're offering 20, first of all, the odds go way down. The second, you're not going to have a lot of longevity at that. That person's not going to have a lot of patience with you if you continue to do that over and over again. A typical discount is 10%. Understanding, and usually that's another thing. The more you buy, usually the better the discount you will get.
Bundle
And package and save. And so, but there's nothing wrong with asking for a discount. I have heard some people say, "Is that the best you can do? Or can you do a better price for me?" You will not get a better price if you don't ask. And maybe it is, maybe that is the lowest the dealer will go when they offer it to you at that price. The other thing that I can tell you, usually if coins are priced, if you see a price on the coin, that usually is negotiable. If they quote you a price, that's usually a lot less negotiable. Trading also makes a difference too. If you have coins to trade, trading will make a difference. as far as being able to negotiate a price.
Is a coin show setting usually your best bet for getting the best deal on the coin you want? Or, I mean, of course it depends on the coin, the condition and everything, but do dealers tend to be a little more flexible in their pricing at a show than in their stores?
In my experience, I would say, yeah, there's probably, well, first of all, you are in a room of competition.
Right.
And so if you don't like the coin that you're looking at or the price that you're hearing, you can always go to the next table.
Right.
And you're fully aware of that, and the dealers are fully aware of that. Okay? I have seen plenty of circumstances where that has worked for the collector. I've seen where it's worked against the collector, where they thought they could get a better deal. They end up coming back around to that table, and the coin that they wanted is now gone. And so, you know, a lot of that comes from experience. You know, I've known collectors who were looking for a particular coin for years and years and years, and maybe having passed on it earlier because they thought it was too expensive, thinking, well, I can find a better deal on it. Later discovering just how scarce that coin actually is in that kind of grade or condition, and then, you know, lamenting the fact that they missed that opportunity, and then it took them years to actually find one, and then when they did find it, they absolutely paid whatever it took to buy that coin that day because they knew just how challenging it was to find.
Well, that's the whole point about not all coins are created equal, because
No,
you're gonna
they're
have
not.
a coin that you know it's hot and it doesn't coming up for sale very often, and so you're not really gonna say, okay, here's my price. I'm not really gonna come down on it because you know somebody's probably gonna be there to snap it up because just they're not available that often. So.
Key date coins right now are very heavy in demand, and so there's probably not going to be a lot of haggling room, a lot of negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got coins to trade, that might be your best bet. You know, if you've got some duplication or some excess, that might be your best bet in getting that better deal. And there's nothing wrong with etiquette-wise with haggling or negotiating to a point. But if you've just haggled somebody down, and that's the other thing. If you offer a price and that person accepts it, now that would be not within good etiquette to now say, well, can you do any better? You know, it's marked 100. Will you take 90 for it? Sold. Well, how about 85? No, you said 90. You know, now it's time to pay the 90. And then say, will you take 90 for it? And now, how about will you trade me for this? You know, that's getting a little questionable. You say, oh, I'm interested in this coin. Are you interested in potentially trading for this one that I have?
Yeah.
That would be a little more upfront, and you're probably going to hear a better response than if you first haggle the price and then offer something in trade after the fact.
That's used car lot tactics right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the dealers are there to do business. They want to do business. They want to make you happy. They want to give you the best deal they can, but they also still have to make a profit. And honestly, there are times where I move coins where I sell them at a loss because it's just time to move on from that coin and move it on to somebody else. Just because I paid a certain price for it doesn't mean it's still worth that anymore. So. Question.
I was going to say, a lot of times the dealers have just given me a couple of dollars off just to be nice, even though I didn't haggle them down.
Right.
But one guy, that coin was $12, and I asked him if he could come lower, and he offered me $15. so I decided not to haggle with that guy. So, yeah.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
I'll try that.
You're gonna try it.
You're welcome at my table anytime. I think that about covers. I don't need to take up too much time, but if you have any other questions, by all means, see me afterwards.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.